Hello everyone. How's life? Nearly late, but not, right? So let me just set up my screen. It's been a hectic week. Well, no, it's been the exact opposite of a hectic week because I've been off for 4 days. However, that means I've been rushing around a bit to get this squared away because I haven't done any due diligence. Right, where's the BBC on here? It's round here somewhere. There we go. Kate Keefe, Terry Wookfit. What a fantastic name. Sadwings. The Fall Guy, Plague Marine, Jeff, all the natives are in. How's everyone doing? Good weekend, wasn't it? Oh, hey, first things first, I have to show everyone my Facebook page. Look how prophetic this was. You get reminded of what you were doing a year ago. Look at this one. 1 year ago today, I shared, "He's my hero, Nigel," and this quality bit of memey goodness. Prof. Andy, well, you will get some words of wisdom. Anyway, this is a meme I shared on Facebook a year ago. Exactly a year ago. How prophetic was Big Nige? And more importantly, how prophetic was I for staking my tent on Big Nigel's front garden in the first month? Yes, John, people are still on Facebook. It is an evil autocracy, but ultimately, a lot of us use it for other things. I very, very rarely post on Facebook now out of principle, but I do still go on the Angry Bootneck page, and I use Messenger to talk to my friends, my missus. It's still mega handy, Messenger. Ultimately, things like Messenger and WhatsApp are mega useful, even if ideologically I'm opposed to everything they stand for. But that's that. Very prophetic, right, Kate? You know it. But that's quality, that, isn't it? It's Spain and Italy going like, help, and then the EU come over, give them a high five, and then they sink. And then, yep, better wash our fucking hands afterwards. I watched some quality John Le Carrier movies this weekend because I was sat on my miserable old dad and all he does is watch sports and spy thrillers and detective shows. And it was making me think of just how bad the EU is. Like, loads of those arseholes at the very top of the EU, those unelected bureaucrats that nobody likes, those unelected bureaucrats that couldn't run a piss up in a brewery and are about as popular as a morbidly obese howling prostitute with syphilis. They are all of the old Eastern European Stasi fuckers that bided the time for a couple of decades and then got backdoored into power in Brussels. Like, they're all absolute scumbags. What about the ones that have even long gone, like of Barroso? They're all absolute weasels. Absolute weasels. We don't want those people to have any power over us at all. We hate our own politicians, even the ones we elect, the ones we actually elect to power, we hate. In Britain, that's how we've always done it. The Europeans love top-down autocracy. We like bottom-up democracy. We like to go to the town hall, in Middlesbrough especially, we like to go to the town hall and we like to sit 10 yards away from the incompetent shitbag that we voted to lord it over us and fiddle their expenses, and we hate them. We like to sit away 10 yards away from them and say, we know you bought 3 laptops and give them to all your fucking girlfriends and your wives and your mistresses. We know you do that. We know every single Mars bar you eat, fatty, was put on your expenses account that a bus driver has to buy for you. We know that despite your massive salary and your 2 houses, we know every single cheese sandwich you ram in your fat, sweaty face. We know that we pay for that on top of your salary via your expenses account because you're all fucking worms. You are contemptible vipers that we tolerate because, alas, there is no better option currently available to us than this deeply flawed democracy that we have. But we tolerate you, politician, sat 10 feet in front of me, you sack of shit. We tolerate you because we have to. We definitely don't want another 850 MPs from the fucking European Parliament and another 10,000 civil servants and a bunch of oligarchs and Ursula von Scheisserporn and all the rest of the fucking worms that are not even from this country. Christ almighty, I can't believe they talked us into the EU for as long as they did. Can you believe that? Like, it's by the grace of God that a howling mob, 20 million strong, hasn't bulldozed Parliament. It's by the grace of God and our wonderfully stern but relatively emotionally distant British spirit, our general demeanours, that we allow them. We suffer our politicians to lead us. But don't even think you're going to be able to talk me into suffering the absolute worms from Brussels. What the fuck? Like I said, I'm that close. That close. When I read about Diane Abbott and David Lammy's expenses accounts, I'm that close to just giving up, to just going, you know what, I'll cut my nose off to spite my face, I'll get on the dole, I'll live like an animal in a council house, live within my means, drink nothing but rainwater and fucking salted porridge, just so I don't have to pay your wages. Like, it's a good job most men, and especially women, because they're a lot more emotionally distant than us volatile northerners, but it's a good job most people aren't as angry as me, because angry bastards like me, I swear down, I'm that close to going, you know what, fuck them. I don't think my life would be that bad if I really spat my dummy out and said, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. You take the piss so much, I feel guilty paying my income tax. Because they are shocking. Like, I pay everything. And I've always paid everything. You know, I've told you guys this before. I have never once, ever been into the dole office, the job centre. Never. I've never had a penny in council tax benefit or job seekers allowance or anything. I've never had a penny in state subsistence. And I'm that close to spitting my dummy out because of how poorly we are led and how much of a disparity is between me and the chavs that surround me and have always surrounded me, because I've never lived in a stately home. I currently live in a shitty one-bedroom apartment in the middle of Nottingham, right? And before that I lived in York in a two-bedroom apartment, and before that I lived in Middlesbrough or wherever the military sent me. But I'm that close to just going, you know what, fuck it. Like, because I get so angry when I know what I'm doing, all my labour, constantly labouring, and they take currently about 500 quid a month off me in income tax and national insurance to pay for people I despise. And I'm that close to going, fuck it. I'll get a council house, I'll jam my fucking thumb firmly up my dirt box, and I'll subsist off about a tenner a week. I could do it easy. Being healthy and going to the gym, like I'll let my hair down on what little hair remains to me. I'll let down on a weekend. Monday through Thursday, I live like a monk. I go for a run, I train, and I eat very little because I'm in my 40s now. I could probably live off about 15, 20 quid a week. And I get fat dollies telling me, oh, I can't feed myself. I can't feed myself. That's your kind of special brew. I can't do it. I need more benefits. For baby. You can't give baby booze. I need more benefits for baby. Fuck off. When I'm working full time and I've probably only got about 100 quid a fucking week more than these fucking shitbags who do nothing for 30 years, I'm that close to going, fuck yous, I'll join you for the party, you cunts. I'll join you for the party. I'll sit on my fat fucking ass and do nothing all day long with you piss-taking bastards. And I'm sorry I'm angry tonight, but this is a tirade I want to get into. And I just want to blow the cobwebs off and, shoo along anybody in the chat, anybody who currently watches me. Matty B, for example, you're perfect. You can seriously listen to what I'm telling you. And anyone else who's foolish enough to think that because I'm northern and working class, I'm some sort of left-wing, Labour-lovey parasite. Because a lot of people in the north are, aren't there? I know this. It doesn't sit well with me, but I know it. Let me just briefly walk you through what I'm angry about. So I wrote a piece today on Quora. I wrote it on my phone, not even a particularly clever, witty or eloquent piece, because I was just tapping away on my phone while I was sat waiting for the toast to finish and a tea bag to boil. But I wrote this answer about why don't parents in the UK use their child support benefit to feed their children, thereby making the argument for state funding of school meals and holidays redundant. And I said, because they need that money for special brew, scratch cards and Super Kings. Anger is an emotion, is it not, you moron? Anger is definitely an emotion, I agree with you. However, you must concede that a large amount of this anger is for a role that I'm playing on YouTube. And in real life, I'm actually very easy to get along with. I do channel the rage because that is when what I think witty and humorous comment flows from. But yeah, I could probably have a sister channel called the Happy Bootneck. I definitely could. I'm a pretty jovial person. Certainly in real life I am. When I'm in the pub, when I'm hanging around people, when I get on the bus and I sit next to a stranger, I'm the type of weird fucker who'll go, all right, mate, how you doing? Have a chat with them. I'm a people person. I love them. But when I'm doing politics, I get fucking rage. But it's controlled rage because I've never went mental in the Houses of Parliament with a machete. So we can safely say that I'm playing it up a bit for the crowd, right? But the reason I highlight this is because it seems like some people, I think I lost about 40 followers today. So I'm assuming there's quite a large number of people following me that seem to think maybe they're like new to the channel and they just sort of like rock up and hear me talk for a bit and they think I'm like a typical chippy, woe is me, victim style northerner. And I just want to make this clear to people like, who was it who had a go at me anyway? Like Annie, 1986 here, who for some reason decided after all the things I've done, I mean, I'm not a prolific YouTuber, but I've done a lot of fucking videos by now, who somehow decided that I'm not a Thatcherite, be proud of yourself and work for what you have, and never want a handout from the rich in the middle class. Never. Not because you are middle class or you aspire to be middle class. I'll always be working class. Listen to how I talk. I couldn't go on the BBC. They aren't my people. I'm working class. I'll always be working class. But I'm a proud man. And the difference between me and someone who's working class and has voted Labour for the last 20 years and is still voting for them now when they've lost the fucking plot and turned into some sort of weird American postmodernist academic fucking party, blows my mind. Because you have nothing in common with me. If you're a Geordie, a monkey hanger, a Mackham, a northerner of any description, and you hear me talk and you think, oh, he's a good crack, he's probably got a lot in common with me, but you are a self-loathing victim. If you see yourself as a victim who's been screwed over by the rich, they've screwed me over. If you're one of them northerners, you have nothing in common with me. And I don't like you. It's not that I don't like you on a personal level, because a lot of my friends in Middlesbrough are hardcore Labour voters, but I've known them that long. Some of them, one of my best mates, John, I've known him 30 years. I grew up with him. I always go for a drink with him whenever I'm home. We're still mates, but we don't talk politics. I can tolerate, and I love the bloke, because I've known him long enough that politics will never end our friendship. But you new guys, now I'm old and long in the tooth and I choose my friends, you will never be my friend because we don't have anything in common. Because you see yourself as a victim and I see myself as a strong-willed, stoic individual that would rip his own fucking heart out and eat it before I would ask some upper crust twit like Jacob Rees-Mogg, for example, who I like a lot, but I'm just using upper crust twit as a generic phrase for anyone who is basically born into privilege, like middle class and above. I don't want anything from those people. Nothing. Nothing. Because of my own pride and my own self-worth. And if you're a fellow northerner, working class scum, single parent even. My mum died when I was a little kid. I was raised by my dad, who was a steel worker in fucking Middlesbrough. There's nothing more working class than that. But if you've had the exact same life experience as me, and your attitude is to see yourself as a victim, we have nothing in common. Nothing. Because I'm proud, and you aren't. Now you can argue about that being wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am. I'm man enough to hold my hands up and say, maybe I'm wrong. Pride is, after all, one of the 7 deadly sins. But I've never viewed it as being a sin. I would knock that off the list and put an extra one on for fucking gluttony, yeah? Because big, fat fucks who blame everybody else for the size of their own arse, they're beneath contempt. Put 2 in for gluttony. Gluttony and buffalo arsery. Just stick them in. We'll have 2 for 1, yeah? Like Weatherspoons. Like where I always take my missus for our anniversary meals. Weatherspoons, 2 for 1. You're only allowed to pick off the 2 for 1 menu. Fucking hell, love, I'm not made of money. Yeah? Do that. Anyway, I'll read this quickly. Forgive me if this doesn't make a lot of sense. I have to translate because it does appear to have been written on an Etch-a-Sketch. And then, they took a photo of it and used Google Translate. My man, you're missing the corona. Don't know why that's in brackets. Did you see how much furlough was fraudulently taken? Yeah, loads. Not happy about it. I know men who literally bought new cars and caravans with handouts. Yep. Then went back to work after a week. Subbies don't get tracked and traced. How can you say people in receipt if benefits are worse? Well, it's put me right off you, man. I just lost my job last week because of this sham and now have to scratch on. You're tainting millions when it's a handful. But the workers definitely scam more money this past year, so what are you going to say on that, eh? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You're playing into the divide and conquer badly, to your own viewer detriment. What about the millions of health tourists or the benefit tourists? You also say that you have never worked. How do you know this? How do you know that they have never worked? You don't, hypocrite. I am going to unsub. You're getting it twisted. So there's that. Like I said, if you think, first of all, no aspect of my platform would ever say, oh, I'll tell you what, I fucking love health tourists. I'm all about health tourists, me. I love them. Or benefit tourists, yeah, fucking quality. I would like to see anyone who's listened more than a handful of my videos think that I'm massively off the mark with half of the shit that Annie's typed up there. But the small point is this. We have a fundamentally different approach to life if you're a fellow working class person and you think our problems are the government. Our problems aren't the government. Our problems are down to the individual. Now, the government do things that make things harder for us. That much is true. The government do fuck a lot of things up. Of course they do. That's why conservatives, or at least liberal-minded conservatives like me, don't like the government. I don't like Tory MPs. I don't like any fucking politician at all. But we do need them. And if we have to have them, then I'm saying let's have as few as possible. The British have objectively got a welfare state that is too large compared to almost everywhere in Eastern Europe. That's why they flooded here. They flooded here. If you want to go to Romania and see what benefits you get, knock yourself out and come back to me and say, oh yeah, you're right, Matty. We're a bit too generous in Britain. We have some of the most generous state handouts in Europe, in the EU. Yeah, you might think they're the fucking beneficent gods, but they aren't. British subsidies are good, and anyone with a brain knows this, because if you live in a council estate, you get sick of walking past the fucking houses of people with bigger TVs than you, bigger cars than you, nicer caravans than you, and more cans of lager in their fucking recycling bins than you've drank in a year, when you know for a fact these people have never fucking worked. It's annoying. If you get, again, the middle class don't get it because they've never had to do it. If I had to get at my last job when I was working in York, I started at 6. I was having to leave the house at fucking 5:30. Oh no, that wasn't York. Anecdotal, find some stats. Matty, I don't have time to dedicate to you with your shite whataboutery. Actually, I'm not sitting here to find stats. This isn't a Matt gets stats for Matty video. This is me talking. It's very easy to sit there and go, actually, when someone else is talking to a group. Yeah? But you're just fucking wrong. Stats. It's a known fact. The UK has generous benefits. That's why poor people come here. If they didn't, they wouldn't. Done. Done. If they didn't, they wouldn't. And they did. So, the fact of the matter is, I'm not against benefits, and I wasn't even saying to Annie, let's get rid of them. All I'm saying is, the safety net has to be managed very tightly. Because if the safety net becomes a fishing net, it is to the detriment of working class people. My people. Because you trap them on welfare. And they live short, miserable fucking lives. They're fatter, drunker, unhealthier. They scratch cards, smoke Super Kings, and fucking cark it when they're 66. Because they have fucking shit lives. Because the 3 things you need to have a good life is a self-respect, self-discipline, and a purpose. And if you don't have those 3 things, you have a shit life. Even if you think you're winning, because you're not having to go to work. Again, these are fundamentals that any working class person knows. And we have experience because we're actually working class. The fuckers that write for The Guardian and the BBC are champagne socialists. Laurie Penny went to a school that cost £25,000 a year. Afua Hirsch is a millionaire, child of millionaires. They know nothing. They know nothing. And they use purposely obscure language and needlessly complex, lengthy words because lengthy words and needlessly obscure language make stupid people think you're clever. If you're actually clever, I don't think I'm a genius, but I think I'm clever. I'm nobody's fool and I'm streetwise and I read a lot. And I know from reading the work of my betters, Richard Dawkins, even from reading some of his more philosophical pieces, talks about how a good teacher, because he did the Faraday lectures. I read about it on his website. And he talks about doing the Faraday lectures, and he says a good teacher makes what they're saying simple. That's why Stephen Hawking was so revered, because Stephen Hawking made a fucking complex subject like physics very simple and easy to understand. It was a real genius he had. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson's famous as well. If you can make a complex subject like physics simplistic and easy to understand, it's a real skill. And Richard Dawkins was good at it when he did the Faraday lectures, and Douglas Adams did his little cameo. Fantastic. Really enjoyable, really entertaining for children. That's a real skill. Motherfucker, postmodernist, communist, academic fuckwits that write for The Guardian and the BBC and release shit books like Robin DiAngelo, where the second you start reading it, your fucking eyeballs melt like fucking Indiana Jones when they open the Ark of the Covenant, right? Where all the Nazis like, meh. That's what I'm like when I'm trying to read Robin DiAngelo's shit. And it's not because I'm stupid. I was reading Stephen Donaldson, White Gold Weeder. Anyone read any of those? Big fans of fantasy literature. Stephen Donaldson, White Gold Wielder, the Thomas Covenant series. My dad gave me them to read when I was like 17. And it was fucking hard going. Stephen Donaldson really writes some difficult, needlessly wordy books. And Robin DiAngelo and the like do the exact opposite of Richard Dawkins. They do the exact opposite of Neil deGrasse Tyson or Stephen Hawking. They make easy, simplistic things ridiculously difficult to fucking understand. That's what they do. They're all like, inform outcomes, negative perceptions of fucking reality. Shut the fuck up. What a load of shit. You know nothing. These people know nothing. And working class people trust the guts, trust their instincts and the streetwise. They don't need to be hyper intelligent. They just need to be of average intelligence, have a full range of emotional nuance, i.e. empathy, and they need to be common sense, streetwise, logical, reasonable. So that's it. It's done. And that's all I want to say about that piece. If you think that because I'm also working class and northern, but you think for some reason I want to blame all of my problems on the government instead of pulling myself up by my own bootstraps because I'm a proud man and I never want to live off charity. I don't want your charity. I don't want your pity. That's what the Guardian readers and the BBC readers and the Independent readers want to give you. They want to give you pity and understanding and then a load of social justice buzzwords. I don't want any of it. I want nothing from you. I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. I don't want help. I just want leaving the fuck alone to do the very small amount of things I enjoy doing, and that's it. I'd probably be all right personally living under a dictator. If there was a dictator that was constantly going off and giving us all this shit, but he allowed me the narrow aperture to do the 4 or 5 things I like doing in life. Having a drink, doing fizz, going to the gym, painting minis and playing Warhammer, what else, reading, go for a walk. There's not many things I do. If I had a fucking dictator and he let me do that shit, I'd probably be quite happy then as well. I'd be quite happy then as well. But I don't need help. I don't need pity. I don't need sympathy. I don't need anything. I just want to be left alone, and I want the government to do as little as possible and take as little of my money as possible to give to people that I don't like. Most of it to themselves, most of it to their expenses accounts, but also large amounts of it to fellow working class people that have got no self-respect. Ultimately, it's not about being selfish and spiteful. It's about helping them. I'm not selfish and spiteful. I don't not want to give my fellow working class people because I have an illogical and irrational hatred for my fellow working class people. Seriously, why would I? I like my fellow working class people more than faceless politicians or Guardian readers. But I'm telling you, the reason I advocate Thatcherite economics is because I care about working class people. We fundamentally disagree, me and Matty, the likes of Matty, the lefties, the Guardian voters. We fundamentally disagree because I'm doing it because I think it's good for them. Thatcher thought it was good for them. Like I said, pay for them to go on a course. If you're on the dole for a long time, I'll pay for you to go on a course. I'll pay for you to go on a heavy goods. I know a few lads who were on the dole for years did that. I'll pay for you to go and do your heavy goods license. You can be a truck driver. I'll pay for you to go on a building course. Learn some some woodworking skills. Be a joiner. Be a bricklayer. Send them on a 6-week course, CITB. Do some basic whatever, lagging, pipe fitting. Do something. But I will never, ever support giving people enough money to do nothing. So that's it. I'm not lacking in pity. I do understand it can be hard being on the dole. And I'm not saying everyone on the dole is a bad person. Of course they aren't. Again, these are my people, my fucking neighbours. My mates were on the dole. My mate Muzzy was on the dole for fucking years. So then they paid for him to go to college, subsidised his college, and now he's a lawyer. Now he's a solicitor. Probably not the best solicitor in the world, because I always take the piss out of him when he tells me funny stories about when he's in court. But you pay for them to do something. Give them enough money to do something, but never give them enough money to do nothing. That's what I'm saying. So Annie here has completely garbled my point, and Matt is garbling it too. I'm not saying don't give them anything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying give them enough money to do something, but never ever give them enough money to do nothing. Because it's not good for you. Self-respect, self-discipline, exercise, get you out the house, get you doing something, that's what you need. That's what you need. Sitting on the fucking couch. I know people have been on the dole. My fucking brother's wife, the dad was on the dole. Borough fucking chav. He was on the dole for 20 years. 20 years, I swear down. Lived in a shitty council estate in Colby Newham, and he did nothing for 20 years. I'm telling you. These aren't fictional stories. These are my own fucking family. Because he could. And every time he got a job, he fucked it off. Because basically going to the job was paid about as much as staying on the dole. So he stayed on the dole. You're not doing these people a favour. Anyway, fuck me. That's nearly half an hour. Just because I was annoyed about this fucking dopey twat. And anybody else who thinks I'm some sort of fucking whiny victim. I'm not a victim. I'll never ever be a victim. If I was homeless, I wouldn't be a victim. I swear to God, I wouldn't be a victim. I would live in a fucking tent under an underpass and I'd stay laser focused. I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't smoke, I wouldn't do drugs. What are my fucking 3 rules? Any long-term fans of the Angry Bootneck want to really impress me and tell me what my 3 rules are for not... When should you drink? Who wants to tell me? Anyone remember my 3 rules? Well, this is when you should drink. Matty, I am compassionate. I care about working class people. We just have different definitions for compassion. I'm doing them a favour. You're trapping them in a shit life. A shit life of poverty and misery. Excuse me a moment. I'm out of water. Yes, well, you guys do impress me. Plague and Rain, when you're happy. Mortuary Artist, when you can afford it. Third one is when the next day is off work or school. Because since I've got a bit older, I can't handle the stress of going to school or going to work when I don't have work the next day. Well done, Rebecca. That's all 3. I am impressed you guys remembered them. These are good life lessons to learn. Born from a life of experience and binge drinking quite regularly. Yeah, Tracy, it's definitely not when there's a Y in the day. But it's those 3. Only when you're happy. That's a big one. Only drink when you're happy. Never drink when you're upset. Only drink when you can afford it. You don't get into debt to go out drinking. And don't drink if you've got anything important to do the next day. Those 3 rules, that's my rules. I invented them. I didn't read them anywhere. But that's my fucking 3. Because if you get pissed when you're miserable, you turn into a psycho and you kick off. If you get pissed when you're skint, you end up paying large amounts of interest on credit cards. Or, I mean, in the old days, in the 90s, they used to fucking rape you if you went over your overdraft limit. It'd be like, you go over by 50 pence and they charge you 25 quid. And obviously the third one, don't do it if you've got shit to do. You're drinking this weekend and you're proper happy, marvellous. Good for you. I had a good drink this weekend as well. Who's the 2 dislikes? Fucking hell, take your pick. Probably Annie 1986 and Matty. It's fine. It's fine, like I keep saying. No one gets banned on my channel. This is a democracy. But Christ, it doesn't mean I have to fucking run around finding metrics for everyone that whinges at me. So yeah, there's that. I suppose I better do at least one news story before I bugger off, hadn't I? Let's pick one. PM praises patience as England restrictions ease. Fuck me. Patience. We've got the patience of a saint, haven't we? The patience of a saint. Oh shit, you know what? That's reminding me of a joke. I'll tell you a joke. I haven't done a joke for a while. So this was told to me. This is one of the only clean jokes I know. Might have told it, I don't remember. This is my clean joke. So it's load of monks in a monastery, and they took a vow of silence. And they're only allowed to break the vow of silence once every 10 years. So they're all in there. 10 years pass in total silence. And all of a sudden, the Father Abbot gets them all together. He says, brothers, you've been in total silence for 10 years. Does anyone want to break their vows just for this one day, as agreed? Most of them are quiet. One guy puts his hand up. He says, brother, I want to make a complaint. He says, oh yeah, what's the complaint? He says, the porridge is too salty. It's really annoying me. Can you please tell them not to put enough salt in the porridge? He says, right, I'll have a word with the chef. No one else says anything. Back to the vows. So another 10 years pass in total silence. They all get together again. Father Abbot does the same. He says, brothers, does anyone want to break the vows? Same guy puts his hand up. He says, you again. He says, Father, I told you last time the porridge is still too salty. Please tell the chef to put less salt in the porridge. It's really doing my head in. He says, all right. I'll get it sorted. Another 10 years pass in total silence. Nobody says anything. They all get together again. Father Abbot says, brothers, does anyone wish to break the vows? The same bloke puts his hand up. He says, I've told you 3 times now, the porridge is too salty. I've had enough. I'm leaving. The Father Abbot says, good. You've done naught but complain since you got here. That is my... If I'm ever at work and someone says, tell me a joke, that is my go-to. Because it's probably the only clean joke I know. Not the best joke. All the dirty ones are funnier. But just telling you guys, I do know a clean joke, and that's it. Reminded to me by the Prime Minister praising our patience. Anyway. Right. Lockdown to ease is planned on 12th of April. Oh God, this irritated me. So I don't want to sound like a prick, obviously. Because, first of all, she obviously died of the big C. I know what that's like. It's awful to see. Horrific. And I'm not gloating or taking any pleasure from it. I'm not saying I don't feel a bit sorry for Dame Cheryl Gillian. But the thing that annoys me about this is on Twitter, all you've seen today, literally every single one of them, whinging. Every single politician was crying about Dame Cheryl Gillian. And it annoyed me because it just sort of made me think, how much of this sympathy and empathy did they reserve for the kids who got blew up by the Manchester bomber that they let in through their own incompetence and stupidity? How much fake emotion was on display when the London Bridge got attacked and all those innocent people got killed? It seems like these fucking scumbags that run this country are more concerned about a pensioner, a very, very long-serving public servant for all the service they give us. All they do is pour endless sympathy and praise on her because they want the same treatment when they die. They want the monuments and the praise and the plaudits. But we don't get anywhere near the same level of outpouring of grief when a load of little kids get killed by someone that our incompetent government led into the country in the first place. The known jihadi that killed all those kids in Manchester. We don't get the same outpouring of grief for something like that, do we? We get a few tepid platitudes and then it's on to the next crisis. So this annoyed me. Cheryl Gillian, just the same old dripping. Eagles, a death metal concert in France was absolutely unbelievable. And again, we didn't get the same level of fucking whinging, did we? Because they all want memorialising. They all want a special day when they're dead. They all want to think the kids will be fawned over and we'll build a big statue for them It's just, I don't care. I don't care about these people. Do your job. I don't employ you for emotional outpourings of sympathy when perfect strangers die. I employ you to run the country competently and logically and reasonably. And you don't do it. Because you're more bothered in building your own legends, looking out for each other, fiddling your expenses, fiddling your taxes, or in the case of most of the Labour lords, like Lord Sewell, coke and hookers, despite the fact you're a fat 80-year-old. You know, our leaders really do repulse me. Anyway, that actually went on longer than I wanted to because I wanted to talk to my missus at 8 o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to bugger off. Sorry I didn't do much news. That was more like a 30-minute rant, a terrible clean joke, and then 10 minutes about some fucking Tory MP that I don't even care about or like. So yeah, sorry. I'm done. Thanks for tuning in, as always. I'll do another live stream tomorrow about 7 o'clock. Because, you know, I spoil you bastards, don't I? Really do. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for having a go at Matty, because he does my head in, even though he's always welcome. And Jeff, I'm just missing you because I'm off. But thanks for everyone for tuning in. Always appreciate the support. I wouldn't do this if you guys didn't tune in so regularly and have a crack with me in the comments. It's really enjoyable, and it's probably helped me through the lockdown a little bit because I enjoy it. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 7 o'clock or thereabouts.